Okay, so we're in my shed again today, and I'm trying to finish off a project I started the other day involving setting up lights in the shed. My name is Steven, and this is my channel, Hearts Delight Exploits. Both so that I have lights for the chickens in the coop behind me, and that I have lights in this main area. Now the thing is, I kind of wanted to hardwire in a fuse box and such for this area, but I'm not sure on codes and stuff. Not sure how legal that is. So what I've done, I've actually just buried a extension cord, and I've got a power bar over here in the corner, and everything that I'm putting in will be pretty much just plug and play. Plug it into the power bar and you're good to go. Realistically, for what I'm doing down here, that's all I really need to accomplish. Now, the only thing is, that means that I'm needing to use cords. I need to wire things in a little bit differently than maybe you normally would. Maybe I could still get away with hard wiring in stuff at this point. I'm not entirely sure. So the thing that I have here, let's get the defunct one, is this kind of thing. It's a replacement plug for a cord. This one is broken. So right now I'm just listening to the chickens, but I'm getting the wire ready to attach to the innards of the plug. It has 3 connections, just like the wire. So I'm trying to keep the exposed wire to a minimum. I really don't want to have a load of this stuff exposed. I don't need a load of it exposed. Now I'm actually going to stop there because the plug side is not really the side I need to focus on first. The side I need to focus on first is the light. So this comes in 2 pieces. So in a way this will be kind of hardwired in. So this wire will go through this port on the side. This screw will hold everything in place, and I'll be able to screw it into the bottom of the light here. Now in order to do that, I need to have this set up on the ceiling. Now while I'm up there, I'm going to take a few of these electrical staples, and I'm going to staple the cord along the joist and down by the window over here so that the cord will end up generally in the right place. Now part of the reason I didn't wire everything up right away is because I have an excessive amount of cord here. I don't need all that cord. I need 10 feet maybe, and I probably got 20, 25. So I'm going to staple it in place. I got enough cord up there to be able to wire in the light. So I'll wire in the light after I've got it stapled, and I can put the plug on the end afterwards when I see how much cord I actually need and how much leeway I want to give myself. This device has got 2 mounting screws, one that's original and appropriate to the device, and the other one that's only kind of going to work. So I need to remove them out of the way. And now I need to get that wire trimmed back a bit so I have some more flexibility. A little loose. Okay, so that's connected. Let's hope it's going to be okay that way. Tighten up the little bit on the other side, the little clamp, so that the wire doesn't get pulled. Put the cage back on for now so that doesn't get misplaced. And now we can go work on the plug side. Okay, so the next thing I need to do is hook up this piece, the plug side. For that, I'm going to guesstimate how much cord I need. I'm going to cut it off. I'm going to try to give myself a bit extra, because if I have to move the power bar around, it would certainly help to have a little extra cord. Only I'm actually going to try to be even more careful on this side to keep the cut piece as short as possible. Because this housing is not very big, so it's not going to hide a lot of cut pieces of wire. Now, before I just make these two together, have to remember it has to go through the housing first, because afterwards this just gets pulled back and plugged in, and if you don't remember that, then you got to take your work all apart again and do it again. So I twist over the wires so that they're nice and tightly wound. I want them to be one good solid connection on here. So I have my housing back there. I'm actually going to let that go. Now there's 3 screws on here. There's one for the grounding rod, one for the positive, and one for the negative. So it's important to make sure the grounding rod gets the green wire. So the way these work, they actually have a plate inside of them about the screw hole. So you feed the wire in between the screw and behind the plate. I'd like to have that twist. So it's a bit of a challenge getting that in there exactly the way I want it to go. But when you get it in there, it's actually fairly easy done. Tighten the wire down and you're good to go. Now for the next part, it's the same sort of thing. Just got to do your black and your white wire. So you tighten it down nice and tight. The benefit of having those plates in between the screw is here. You have a plate on the back of it, and you have another plate on the inside where the wire is going to be crushed. So the wire is kept nice and tight and bound in between those points. That's good. It helps. That's good. It helps keep all your wires nice and tightly packed, and you don't have to worry as much about having everything in exactly the right place. Now, the next part is getting these 3 little screws into the housing. It's arranged in a triangle, so you would figure that it's not that hard to get them lined up, but having a little bit of trouble here. The main problem is, of course, that you have to line up all 3 screws at the same time. See, that one's twisting. He's not hitting the right spot on the inside. The real concern is that you strip out the screw holes, the nuts on the inside, and you make the housing useless. In which case you've just wasted money buying this thing for nothing. So you can see the holes inside here and what you need to get your screws back into. Careful not to tighten down too much at this point, or at any point, because you are dealing with metal screws and a plastic housing. Now, next in line are these little chunky bits and a couple of more screws. Luckily, this is easier to deal with. These are 2 pieces. They're like Lego blocks. This one has the Audi. So that one goes on one side. Keep it pinned in place. And you turn it over and fit the other piece in the other side. This is going to pinch the wires in place so that the cord can't easily be ripped out of the socket. So now you take the screws, drop the screwdriver, you put the screws in the hole, and they'll join those 2 pieces together through the main plastic housing. We need to do 2 things before we quite test this out. One, we need a light bulb up there. Then we need to get the power bar away from all the other stuff so that we can safely plug this in case there's a short. Okay, here it goes. So now I have light in my shed. It's done in a bit of an unconventional way, but this works for me and what I want at the moment. Now, in the other video, I showed how I put a light in the chicken coop. Not entirely sure that that's going to be necessary because I have portable heaters that I can bring into the shed, and I have brought into the shed to help keep the birds warm. So we'll have to see how that turns out. So I guess that ends another video for Hersey Light Exports. Hope you enjoyed it. Hope it showed you something, maybe showed you a different way of thinking about things. Hope it was at least interesting to you. And I'll see you the next time I'm working on a project. That's good.